Rahul, Reddy and Ryuki Okada here, who are going to be battling. Rahul's come over from the US, Ryuki has come over from Tokyo in Japan. And I think I had the pleasure of interviewing Ryuki earlier. You've just had a chat to Rahul as well. So it's going to be interesting to see the way this goes. We've got Dragapult up against Lugia. Any predictions for this game? Oh, let's talk about Rahul first.
Yeah, let's talk about Rahul, As it says, no finalist there on that achievement board. OCRC top 4, EUIC top 8, and 2 top 16 at 2024 and 2018 World Championships. One of the world's most decorated players to previously never make a regional or international final, but now can scratch that off the resume.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When you see a player with multiple world's top 16, they are right there in terms of how well they should be doing. Ryuki here, the Fukuoka Champions League top 16 this season, Kyoto Champions League top 16, Latin America Internationals top 32, and a Kyoto Champions League top 32. And remember, those Champions League, I mean, the one in Tokyo last weekend was 5,000 players. That's
ridiculous.
Normally, they're closer to the kind of 3,000 player range in the past couple of years. And their lottery entry, they are so sought after entry in. You actually have to enter a lottery to try and get entry into them. So when I call those Champions League competitive, I really need people at home to realize quite how difficult it is to get a top 32, top 16 finish at those events. It is incredibly difficult. And when you've done it multiple times...
I was about to say, it's hard to do it once, let alone multiple times, right? So, yeah, that's going to be... That's a strong resume there, both sides. I think Rahul actually did have a mulligan there, it looks like, but... yeah, that means this is going to be what a match this is. And you asked me about prediction. I do think I'm taking Lugia here. I think, you know, Dragapult is a deck that likes to dissect lower HP Pokemon. And Lugia inherently has a lot of high HP Pokemon. So I do think Lugia, in my opinion, might be slightly favored. But you know what can happen in the best of 3, Ross? Absolutely anything.
Yeah, and of course we didn't see it, but we know that Ryuki did take down Yellow Kemper in the previous round. But of course, when you're looking at those Bidoof, those Gimmighoul, there are a lot of tasty targets for that Phantom Dive that Ryuki could have gone after in that top 4 game. So unfortunately for Yellow, did fall at top 4, but still a great achievement. Looking at prizes, what are we oohing?
We see the Minchino and the Blood Moon Ursaluna currently in the prize cards there for Rahul. So we'll not be able to have access to them as they are both one-ofs. Could be really impactful since Chinchino is the only Pokemon that can one-shot a Dragapult EX. But it looks like both players have shook their hands. And Rahul is getting us started here in our Dortmund Regional Final. Has a Squawk ability in the active and will flip tails on a capturing Aroma.
Yeah, this is a good point in the game where if you flip heads, you go and get an Archeops to try and discard it. If you flip tails, you go and get something like your Minchino, if it isn't prized, your Lugia V, and your other basics with which to go and set up. So whichever way you flip at this stage of the game, usually okay. It's that late game when you need to flip heads for the evolutions, or the mid game, where it gets a little more awkward. So a quick reminder about this Lugia deck for those of you that may be jumping in a bit later to the stream. The goal is simple. You get Lugia V-Star, you get 2 Archeops in the discard, you use Summoning Star to put those 2 Stage 2 Archeops directly onto your bench, and then you can attach 4 extra special energy, 2 per Archeops every turn to power up these big, powerful attackers like the Iron Hand we just saw come down on the bench.
Yep, taken via that Nest Ball, and the Lugia taken off the capturing Aroma. There we do see that Squawk and Seize, let you discard your hand and draw 6 if it's the first turn of the game. We do also see the double turbo energy getting attached to that bench Iron Hand. So now we see a pass over to Ryuki, who is playing that Dragapult EX deck. Looks like debating whether to play that Nest Ball. So while Ryuki does grab a Pokemon off that Nest Ball, let's take a quick look at the Dragapult EX deck. It is built around, well, Dragapult EX. That Phantom Dive attack does 200 damage and lets you play 6 damage counters on your opponent's bench Pokemon in any way you like. That's good, but how about we start to manipulate that damage even further by the Dust Noir line. Dusclops has the Cursed Blast ability, letting you knock itself out and place 5 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. And then Dust Noir has Cursed Blast as well, which does 13 damage counters to one of your opponent's Pokemon if you knock it out. Doesn't stop there though, Ross. because Raging Alakazam can use Painful Spoons to move 2 damage counters from one of your opponent's Pokemon to another. So damage can just be manipulated in a myriad of different ways, and that is what Ryuki will be looking to do.
Yeah, it's a deck that really benefits from that new Stellar Crown expansion. We've got your Crispin in there, we've got Sparkling Crystal, and then, of course, before that, we had Shrouded Fable, and this has taken a Dusknoir line. So the last 2 expansions really turning Dragapult from an also-ran into a top contender, and here in the final at Dortmund Regionals, piloted by Ryuki Okada here. So we do have 2 Dreepy down. We have an Energy on a Dreepy. We have a Rotom V and an early Ino here, giving both players a new hand of 6 cards once they've shuffled up and put their hand on the bottom of the deck.
Now, we know that Lugia has some hurdle to jump over, so this Ino could be really impactful. We know that Ryuki does have the Rotom V to end a turn with instant charge, so at minimum we'll get another 3 cards to end the turn here. So I think Ryuki's done perfectly fine. You maybe like to try and see a Duskull if possible, but I think this is the bare minimum that you'd like to get the game started with as instant charge for Ryuki, and it is back over to Rahul. Can we get 2 Archeops in a discard pile with a Lugia V-Star? If we do, we could start to see some Ampu very much used as early as his second turn of the game. There is a Lugia V-Star, Ross. Do we get 2 Archeops in the discard pile? That would be fantastic.
Now, here's the awkward thing. If you get 1 in the discard pile, here we see a flip for Mezagosa. Do we flip ahead?
It's a head.
Do. So that's going to go and get an... It is an Archeops, isn't it?
I would imagine it'd be an Archeops. Yeah. There it is, yep.
Just double checking it was any Pokemon. It is. So you do go and get the Archeops here. You could actually get the Iron Hands rolling with 1 Archeops, but it's generally a very bad idea to only get 1 Archeops out. So Earthen Vessel discards the first Archeops, failing that search. And it seems like, well, if we can get a second Archeops here, things are going badly for Ryuki, because not only will that Iron Hands get a KO, it'll take an extra prize while it does so.
Yep, and it stays outside of range of Phantom Dive, at least for now, with that 230 hit points. Jet Energy will maneuver the Iron Hands into the active. Let's see, and we're going to see an Ino there for Rahul. So, if Rahul can get into an Archeops and a way to discard it, Rahul will be able to use Summoning Star for the maximum value. We see an Archeops and an Ultra Ball! 2 Archeops! Only needed 1, but draws into 2. Oh, but wait a minute. He drew into the Legacy Energy. Won't be able to Primal Turbo that.
I mean, he won't... Oh, is that the... That's the
so
only
we can't...
way...
He does play a Lightning Energy as well, but you can't Primal Turbo that either.
No.
So a blessing and a curse there for Rahul. Won't be able to attack with Ampu very much this turn due to drawing into that one of A-Spec Legacy Energy.
And he did attach a Jet Energy for turn. Did actually have... He played the Earthen Vessel.
Yeah.
Could have gotten the basic Lightning, but then wouldn't have had a way to get that Iron Hands into the active, which was another part of the puzzle. Everything's got a little bit awkward here. The double Archeops Ultra Ball, phenomenal draw, but the only card he didn't want to draw was the Legacy Energy. Here we see the Summoning Star, double Archeops going onto the bench. We see the Primal Turbo coming out, but that is super annoying if you're Rahul. You've used your attachment for the turn, and the only energy that can be accelerated with Archeops to pay that Lightning cost isn't an option.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate there, okay, viewers at home. The Legacy Energy is the only special energy Rahul can use to satisfy that Lightning energy cost in Ampu very much. And since he drew into it, we will not be able to use Primal Turbo to attach it. So it looks like we are going to see Lugia V-Star getting ready for a Tempest Dive potentially. We did see the Iron Bundle being taken there. No, it's going to be a pass instead.
Oh, that was so close to being the perfect turn for Rahul there at the start of this final. All he needed was to get 1 Archeops and a way to discard without Legacy Energy.
Right, this could be really important.
With Mezagosa, it's ahead.
Now, I believe Ryuki does have a rare candy in hand and the Sparkling Crystal A-Spec. So as long as we see a basic energy in the hand, Ryuki will be able to fire off a turn 2 Phantom Dive.
Yeah, go straight for that Dragapult. And here's the problem. Now we don't have a Pokemon in the active that can be easily KO'd with Ampu very much. We've got a very large Pokemon, and then we've got a lot of damage going down on the board, as we also see a Buddy Puffin going to grab a couple of those smaller Pokemon. No mucking about here, double Duskull.
Yep, and that's how the Dragapult players can opt to sort of bolster their Phantom Dive output damage by using Curse Blast to, you know, factor in an extra 5 damage counters. Or
there's the rare candy.
There
there's
we
the
go.
Sparkling Crystal. There's the energy from hand. Phantom Dive, Shay.
Yep, turn 2, Phantom Dive, that's the aim of the game for a Dragon Ball EX player. 200 damage into the active, and you can spread 6 damage counters to the bench. I wonder if Ryuki, with so much bench damage manipulation, can even start trying to go over Archeops if you like. The Squawk ability is a very soft 160 HP 2-prize Pokemon, so there's a multitude of options there, as it looks like all 6 will be on that Squawk ability.
If you think you're going to get free Phantom Dives off during the game, then it's absolutely worth putting it on the Squawk ability. Tails on Mezagoza for Rahul here. No extra Pokemon this turn.
So let's see what else Rahul can line up here. We do see Iron Bundle. That's going to be used with that Hyper Blow ability. That's going to force Ryuki to promote another benched Pokemon. Pushes that Dragapult out the way. Ryuki does get to choose. Now, worth knowing, anything that promotes it outside the Rotom can get KO'd very easily via Amp You Very Much.
Well, here's the problem. If you put up one of your smaller Pokemon, it gets KO'd with Amp You Very Much. But if you put off the Rotom, it gets KO'd by Tempest Dive. Either way, you're giving up 2 prizes to Rahul this turn. So, I mean, I'd be tempted to put the Rotom up. But the problem is, you're then giving up 2 prizes anyway, and that can be useful in the late game if you have those turns where things aren't going your way. But it's not ideal here, and we are now going to see a Primal Turbo onto Lugia. Of course, we've already seen that manual attachment of the Legacy Energy to the Iron Hand in the active, but this is not... I mean, here's the thing. Ryuki can make these 2 prizes back by taking out the Squawk ability with the residual damage, you know, the extra 6 damage counters from the Tempest Dive. But you're not KOing much with the active, you know, the 200 damage. So the prize map is awkward for Ryuki here, and Rahul's taking a cheeky 2 prizes off this Duskull. So Rahul's got a much easier prize map here of just, I'm going to KO this small stuff. Hopefully, Ryuki's going to make it more difficult with a Dragapult. So
we do see Amp You Very Much going to carry that Duskull. Worth noting that Legacy Energy will reduce the amount of prize cards that Iron Hands will give up if it is KO'd. So Rahul's taken 2 prize cards to start us off here. Ryuki going to start the turn off there with a Mezagoza. As enthusiastic roll. That's gone off the table. Ew. Looks like I'm assuming that's a Tails. Yeah, it was a 1. So let's see what Ryuki can manufacture here. That Legacy Energy reducing the prize card is really interesting. It means that Iron Hand's taken an early hit isn't as disastrous as it otherwise would be. Now, we do evolve into a Dracloak here. It does have the Recon Directive ability, letting you look at the top 2 cards of your deck. 1 goes in your hand and 1 goes to the bottom of the deck.
Yeah, this is what we see. Stage 2s with built-in draw engines tend to just be better. We see it with Gardevoir. We see it with things like Pidgeot. You don't mind playing a stage 2 if you're going to be drawing cards with it. Here, it's a stage 1, but you're up on the way there. You're fine. Yeah. And then when you need to attack, when you get to that turn, then you can evolve it up into a Dragapult and roll from there. It is interesting to note, of course, that Ryuki, being a Japanese player, has kind of gone through this entire format in Japan. It's actually coming back in time a little bit because Japan has had an extra mini set since then. So here comes the Arvum, and I'm going to be interested to see, you know, has Ryuki got a little bit of an advantage? Because probably played this format more than anyone else in the room except maybe Kato or I.
Yeah, that is very true. So it looks like the Arvum is being eyed up here. Going to grab a Forest Seal Stone and a Rare Candy. Rare Candy is interesting. Does that mean we're lining up a potential Dust Noir play here?
We could be lining up a Dust Noir play here.
Oh, because Dust Noir would actually KO bench Squawk ability, right?
It would indeed. Also, I'm going to read you some text of Legacy Energy here, Shay.
Okay, as Ryuki does take the Dust Noir.
If the Pokemon this card is attached to is knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, that player takes 1 fewer prize card.
Oh.
If you KO with Dust Noir, you don't get the effect of Legacy Energy.
Also, if you KO with bench damage from the Phantom Dive as well, that won't work as well, right? Here we do see the Cursed Blaster. That's going to target into the Lugia V-Star on the bench. Rahul takes a prize card down to 3. A counter catcher into the Lugia V-Star as well.
4 prize turn.
4 prize turn. Here we go. Phantom Dive into the active. Damage goes on the benched Iron Hands. And that gets around Legacy Energy, KOing 4 prize cards in 1 attack. Goodness gracious me, Ryuki.
You know how I said a minute ago that like that Phantom Dive damage is awkward?
Yeah.
It is. You just need to be a really good player. You can navigate it quite nicely. But this is the thing that Dust Noir does, because that 200 to the active is not quite enough. But you combine it with a 6 damage counters dropped on the bench. You combine it with that Dust Noir, things get a little bit more interesting. And here's the thing for Rahul now. There's no attackers on the board. Oh. You've lost your Iron Hand, you've lost your Lugia. And you have a 320 HP Pokemon with no weakness sitting in the active. And also, not for nothing, that Squawkabilly only has 80 HP remaining.
It's not a lot of HP remaining, is it? Let's be honest. Now, Rahul does... Oh, we do see a Mesagoza, I should say. That's going to be a heads, okay. So whatever Pokemon Rahul likes can go and grab here. Now, there is no Duskull established for Ryuki, so there will be no Cursed Blast next turn. As we do see Mesagoza going to grab the Fezandipity EX. That Flip the Script will be live now, so we'll be able to draw 3 cards since one of his Pokemon was knocked out on the opponent's last turn. But yeah, this is going to be an uphill struggle here.
It really is. If there was a Duskull down, Ryuki could have game this turn.
Yeah.
All you would need to do is Curse Blast from a Dusclops onto a Squawkabilly, and then the 6 damage counters from Phantom Dive would be enough then to get the KO. But of course, Rahul did KO that first Duskull, and it is no longer an option. So here we do see the flip with your Capturing Aroma. It's a heads, so it has to be an evolution Pokemon we get coming out now.
Yep, and it looks like it will be the Chinchino being taken there. That would be a great attacker in this scenario, but, well, you can't use Chinchino if you have no Mincino in play. So it looks like, oh, maybe debating on to grab a Lugia V-Star instead.
Yeah, either way, that's not a terribly useful Pokemon right now.
No.
Rahul is choosing between 2 Pokemon that aren't going to do anything right now. Lugia goes and hits the board, and now we do see the Primal Turbo. Ryuki, if there's any gusting option, will win next turn by just KOing that Squawkabilly. Otherwise, we can just set up for a win the following turn. Rahul is going to need to take 3 prizes in 2 turns here to stop Ryuki winning, and I don't see how that's happening. Now, is we going to attack with Lugia V here?
Use an Aero Dive, perhaps, doing 130 damage and lets you discard a Stadium. Not an attack we see too often, but, you know, would actually do 110 after that double turbo energy attachment. If we do see Flip the Script being activated there as well, and now Rahul's playing an Ultra Ball. Oh, are we seeing a Weird Ear play?
Oh, we could see a Weird Ear play. I'm going to have to do some maths on this one. It's 40 damage for each energy attached to this Pokemon, but if it's a double turbo, it's 60 rather than 40. Here's the boss's orders onto the Dracloak here. Actually gets KO'd.
By a Speed Wing on that Archeops.
And
wow, okay.
That's really clever from Rahul. So now he has set up the 3 prizes in 2 turns. He's got a Weird Ear play for next turn. And what we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 24 plus 20 extra for each of 2 double. And we're not there yet, but we will be after another Primal Turbo.
There's a Mesagoza flip heads for Ryuki. So it looks like Luminion could be grabbed. Luminion boss's orders into that damaged Squawkabilly EX. And Ryuki takes game 1 here in our Dortmund regional final and did it with an absolute masterclass, completely dissecting Rahul's board. Game 1 goes to Ryuki.
Yeah, that was a fantastic play there. And like we said, if Ryuki had the boss's orders, any gusting effect would have ended the game.
Yep.
Rahul did a great job in that final turn, setting himself up for the following turn. Couldn't win then, but basically said, look, I've taken an easy prize. I've left a 1 prizer in the active, forcing you to have some kind of gust. I have set myself up a board where I can win with a Weird Ear next turn of an extra Primal Turbo. I have done everything that I can. Please don't have boss's orders. And Ryuki went, sorry, actually do have boss's orders, or at least Luminion therefore. Let's take a look at the replay. Rahul exhales, and we get rolling. Here we saw a big flip on the Mesagoza, which was enough to go and actually get that Dragapult rolling, and a giant 4 prize turn getting around that Legacy Energy in the process.
What a turn that was. Completely swung the game there. And Ryuki was just in the driver's seat immediately. Rahul didn't even have any attackers left. You know, tried to set up a decent attacking play with the Weird Ear next turn, but Luminion boss's orders, bringing up that Squawkabilly EX, and that was all she wrote there for game 1 as Ryuki steamrolls into head and did it in a rather fast game, actually. So plenty of time left in this round. I think if you're Rahul now, Ross, what do you think is going through your head?
I'm just thinking, I played well that game. I set up quite well that game, and it didn't even matter. Rahul played very, very well, gave a great account of himself as a player with a really strong Lugia deck list, and Ryuki was just able to navigate. But, oh, 2 Dracloak prized is not ideal, nor is that one of Weirdia prized either.
All right, so it looks like our game 2 is getting started. Rahul is starting us off here, has led that 1 copy of Blood Moona, Saluna, benches Lugia V, has a Mezagoza, now worth noting that it works really well for both players, of course. And let's see, is it heads? Okay.
Go search for any Pokemon you want. And to finish my 4th from a moment ago,
yep.
If I'm Rahul, I'm also thinking, I've taken 1 loss. I'm 14-1.
Yeah.
I have taken 1 loss this entire tournament since I started early yesterday morning. And yeah, I had a game where my opponent just did better. Won that game, but I'm a phenomenal player. I've got a great deck. This is far from over. I'm also thinking I've never had a final before. I've never had a big victory before. I need to make the most of this. This is my time. Frankly, Rahul has waited long enough, so I expect to see a great game here. And if I'm Ryuki, I'm thinking, hey, I like this Dragapult deck. It's pretty good.
Yeah, as we do see Rahul going to take the Squawk ability off the Mezagoza, Jet Energy, get Lugia V in the active, and Squawk and Seas going to get rid of a Chinchino, a Boss's Orders, an Earthen Vessel, and a Lugia V Star. There's that Legacy Energy again in the hand. We don't want it in the hand. That was pivotal for Rahul in game 1. Is over to Ryuki, who's actually led that 1 copy of that Tatsugiri, of that Attract Customer's ability, letting you look at the top 6 cards of your deck and grab any support you find there and put it in your hand.
I love Tatsugiri. It's a wonderful card. And also, must be noted that, yes, that 1 turn with getting Legacy Energy in hand was pretty bad luck from Rahul. But then again, that was weighted by getting the the Ultra Ball and the Archeop. So good luck and bad luck rolled together. So Tatsugiri is going to give Ryuki a guaranteed supporter if there is one in the top 6 cards.
Yep.
But now we get a Buddy Buddy Poffin coming down, and it looks like at least 1 Dreepy, but I think we might be going double Dreepy. Yeah, it looks like we're going double Dreepy here.
Yeah, I think you have to go double Dreepy with 2 of them currently in the prize cards. You can't really afford to just be...
Oh, the Dracloak prize, not the Dreepy.
Oh, I thought it was Dreepy.
I thought it was Dracloak.
I thought it was Dreepy. We'll get some confirmation. Yeah, we'll get confirmation on that. So it looks like we are going to grab at least 1, 2... from the deck there of that Buddy Buddy Poffin and get them early into play. Love that attack name. It was 2 Dreepy, it looks like, in the prize cards. And that Roxanne as well, actually. So that's
I apologise.
Keeping an eye out for.
I could have sworn it was Dracloak. Thank you for the correction there, Shay.
Okay.
But we got 2 down for the time being. That means that we can at least get some rolling, and hopefully you start taking some prizes, and then from there, you liberate your Dreepy friends from the prizes. There's no Hisuian Heavy Ball, though, so you will need to take prizes to actually get access to them.
So we are going to see Dreepy. We did see a Tails on the Mezagoza. Here we do see the Attract Customers. Let's see. Is there a support? I think there was a Crispin at the very least. And yep, there we do see a Crispin. Not something you want to use. Well, I mean, you could use it this turn if you have no other option, but something you realistically want to use when you have a Dragapult EX out.
Yeah, Crispin is perfect for those turns where you've got a Dragapult, no energy on the board, and you can't find your Sparkling Crystal or you've already used it. Ino, however, that'll do very nicely. And there's something about a turn 1 Ino. Like, your opponent plays their entire first turn. They're often holding cards in the hand that they want for turn 2. They play as if this hand is going to be around. Sometimes a turn 1 Ino can be really annoying for your opponent, as we see a Nest Ball here. And because Dragapult has no real turn 1 attack, looks like we're going for Rotom V.
Yeah, Rotom V, fantastic. Letting you end your turn, instant charge, draw 3 cards. We saw it get used in game 1, actually. And yeah, like you said, resetting your opponent's hand, making them play a little bit suboptimally, perhaps, as we do see instant charge coming over. Right, Rahul, can we see the turn 2 summoning star? There's at least 1 Archeops in hand. Here goes Mezagoza. That's Tails.
Not ideal. There's 1 in hand.
There comes Iron Hands with that lightning energy now, and it's just to read the wind, Ross.
That is not the turn that Rahul really wanted there. Read the wind, discard an Archeops, draw 3 cards, but it is not that turn 2 summoning star for which all Lugia players wish. So we're now back over to Ryuki. Can he get the turn 2 he's looking for? And it looks like we're going Mezagoza to begin. Tails, but we do still have Tatsugiri after a Buddy Buddy Poffin where, look, last time, double Dreepy. This turn, it's Duskull's turn.
Yep. Worth noting, Ryuki does actually have Arven in hand and does have Rare Candy Dragapult EX in hand already. So I believe a turn 2 Phantom Dive is much guaranteed. As long as there's a basic energy in the hand, you can just pay retreat on your Tatsugiri, Arven for your Sparkling Crystal, Rare Candy, Dragapult, and now we're at Phantom Dive territory again, I believe, if that's what the hand will allow. This Arven will be able to give us some clues into how Ryuki will navigate this turn.
Yeah, here comes the Arven. We're expecting that we're going to see that Sparkling Crystal Ace-Spec come out, but we're going to have to wait and see if that is exactly what...
Oh, has the switch in hand, sorry, so I don't even need to use Sparkling Crystal this turn if he doesn't want to.
I never want to use Sparkling Crystal unless I absolutely have to.
Yeah.
Because Sparkling Crystal is perfect for those, oh no, I need 2 energy and I've only got 1 kind of turns.
Yes.
Like Ryuki put an energy on Dreepy last turn so that he didn't need to use Sparkling Crystal. So I would not expect to see that come out if it's not needed. So we Rare Candy, Dragapult, attach energy, switch, attack.
Worth noting that Sparkling Crystal was a stellar crown card, reducing the attack cost by 1 energy of the Terra Pokemon it's attached to. And that's one of the sort of awkward things about Dragapult, as we do see the Arven looks like going to grab the Forest Seal Stone and an Ultra Ball, is that one of the limiting factors has been that it attacks for 2 awkward energy, 1 Psychic, 1 Fire. Sparkling Crystal just erodes that.
Yeah, same thing with Crispin, also a stellar crown card. You search for 2 different basic energy, attach 1, put the other in your hand. That can then be your attachment for the turn. Those 2 cards are helping. There's the Rare Candy Dragapult. There's the Psychic Energy. And with Switch in hand, there's the attack guaranteed. There is the Switch. And we've still got Forest Seal Stone that we can pop onto Rotom here and use for searching whatever card it is we might want.
Wow, what a turn there. Still preserves A-Spec, preserves energy. Still has, I think, another Rare Candy in hand as well. So Dust Noir could come out next turn. Another Dragapult could come out next turn. And we saw how this early 6 damage counters from the Phantom Dive softened up that Squawkabilly EX. And Rahul was forced to put 1 down again. So there's no realistic reason why that Squawkabilly is not going to get punished, well, at least pressured soon.
Well, there's that, but there's also other options here. You can pop damage counters on either of those big basics, Iron Hands or Blood Moon Ursaluna, to bring them into Phantom Dive territory so that if they attack, they will get immediately KO'd. I would want to put 3 on the Iron Hands. Yeah, and then 3 onto the Squawkabilly. That would be my preference here.
Yeah, wow.
I'm saying to my opponent, look, I know you're probably going to use Iron Hands, fine, but I'm not 2-hit KOing it again. If it attacks, it goes down. We
do see it. Meza goes a head split for Rahul. We know there is 1 Archeops currently in discard pile already. I think there's a Lugia V-Star in hand, so... Oh, no, we are going to grab a Lugia V-Star, so let's see what Rahul can do. Does evolve up that Lugia V into a V-Star, giving it a nice HP boost at the very least. Is there another way to discard an Arc? Is there another Archeops in that hand? Wait, is there a playable supporter, actually? I can see Boss's Orders at the very least.
I can see double turbo. I cannot get a good look at the hand. There's double turbo. There is that Boss's Orders. There's some special energy in hand.
Oh, it's going to be a V-Star, summoning star for 1.
That is right. Here's the deal. I have seen exactly 1 game where on stream, and I've casted a lot, where a player got 1 Archeops and they wanted 2. Well, I've only seen 1 game of a win with 1 Archeops on stream. It was Natalie Miller playing against a control deck where she wanted a single Archeops to limit her bench. I have not seen a player get 1 Archeops when they wanted 2 and win a game on stream. So this is very impactful here. The good news is Rahul's got enough energy on the Iron Hands. The good news is we do have that Legacy energy on there.
Yep.
So, and there is an argument to not put the damage on so you can Phantom Dive, do 200, then KO it on the bench like we saw last time, get around the Legacy energy. But this is best case scenario for Rahul right now, but I do not like having 1 Archeops. Here comes a Dreepy active, and Rahul, you see the hands, 2 prizes, but that 1 Archeops on the board is huge.
Worth noting, remember, Ryuki has prized 2 copies of Dreepy. I don't think took 1 out of the prizes, so there will be no Dreepy to put down this turn. Worth keeping an eye on that, as Ryuki does promote the Tatsugiri, is going to go for Mezagoza. Loving those enthusiastic dice rolls. Looks like that was a 4, so that's a heads.
Now, interestingly enough, Ryuki's got a free prize turn, I believe. No, doesn't have a free prize turn on the board. That Lugia would be 20 damage short. But can KO the... Oh, and there's only 1 prize actually coming for the Iron Hands because of the Legacy energy. But the thing is, it's not getting KO'd this turn.
Unless we see some cursed blast shenanigans, perhaps. I know there's another Rare Candy in Ryuki's hand, so cursed blast from that Dust Noir would put 13 damage counters. It would knock itself out, of course, but that could be rather impactful. Let's see what the attract customers will get. Look at top 7. Take a support you find there. Looks like that Crispin again, or Boss's Orders, perhaps. Ooh, that's a tough decision.
That is quite a tough decision. We do have boss's orders, it looks like. But do you really want to leave the Iron Hands on the board here? I'm not entirely convinced that you do. Oh, actually, one fun play we could make here. If we put the 6 damage counters from Tempest Dive onto the Lugia, we could use a Radiant Alakazam next turn to move 2 from the Squawkabilly and get a mid-turn KO on that Lugia if we so wish.
Worth noting as well, Ryuki does play a Temple of Sinnoh, so could Forest Seal stone that out to turn off the Legacy energy?
Oh, I think that'd be a good play.
So that's a play as well. Ryuki has so many options here. I imagine since he's offering the, offering the deck to shuffle, might not be done with the searching yet, but it looks like we're going to get that back. So there's a whole multitude of options here. We did see a basic energy get attached to active Tatsugiri. So let's see. Rare Candy, Dust Noir, Cursed Blast, into Archeops.
The only Archeops on the board. And I tell you what, Shay, I am absolutely fine.
Oh, we're going to see Temple of Sinnoh. We are as well. It's going to turn off the Legacy Energy, Ross. That'd be 2 prize cards on the active. Goodness gracious, 3 prize turn.
Yeah, that Archeops. I mean, I think we can say for certain 2 energy is going on the Archeops here. And this, 2 damage, sorry. And this is going to be a 3 prize turn. Rahul is going to be left with no energy on the board, no Archeops to accelerate energy. And this could be the absolute final blow here that Ryuki needs to really just stop Rahul's deck working. I've said it before, 1 Archeops is not a position Lugia ever wants to be in. And generally speaking, if you have 1 Archeops, your opponent will go after it. 2, maybe it's not worth it. 1, oh, it's definitely worth it. And Temple of Sinnoh turning off that Legacy energy, icing on the cake, Shay.
Yeah, Forest Seal Sturdy using Star Alchemy to go grab that Temple of Sinnoh. In case you don't know, makes your opponent's special energy only count as colorless. That any extra effect that it has no longer valid, as we do see the Luminion for Iono as well. Temple of Sinnoh coming down, replaces Mesagoza. Special energy now only count as colorless. And we do see Ryuki shuffling up the deck. And Iono being played as well, Ross. Goodness gracious me, what a turn.
Yeah, this has been just, I mean, the first 2 turns here from Ryuki have just been absolutely, this is turn 2? No, it's turn 3. The first 3 turns here from Ryuki have been phenomenal. Here comes the damage. We get the KO. Here comes 2 damage counts onto Archeops to get the KO. 4 left to play with here. And, I mean, Lugia's got to be an attractive target here because honestly, next turn, what I really want to do is gust up the Squawkabilly, finish off the Lugia, and that's the game. Although you only don't need 2 onto Lugia, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, quite honestly, there's so many ways Ryuki can close this game out. Boss's orders now. We can even just Cursed Blast into the Squawkabilly on the bench. That would win the game as well. So many options for Rahul. What can Rahul do? Ryuki did take a GP out of the prize cards there. Here we go. Capturing Aroma. And that is a heads. That would be an evolution Pokemon, can be taken.
Yeah, any evolution Pokemon can be grabbed here. It is an Archeops, but of course, the Lugia decks, they don't play any way to evolve up into the Archeops. The Archeops only comes out with Summoning Star. We do see Pheasantipity coming down here. That is going to draw all 3 cards as virtue of having a Pokemon KO'd the previous turn. But what's he really looking for? Like, Lugia doesn't play low energy attacks. Oh, he could attack with a double turbo on the Blood Moon Ursaluna. If there wasn't a Temple of Sinnoh in play.
Yeah, so that, oh goodness gracious, all the avenues for Rahul. Could obviously replace the Stadium, of course, that would work. Yeah, there's Capturing Aroma. That's going to be heads, another evolution Pokemon. Flip the Script was used, was able to draw 3 cards. So Stadium replacement, and then Blood Moon Ursaluna could attack with that Blood Moon.
Yeah, here comes Archeops out of the deck here. 2 discarded with an Ultra Ball. Great on turn 1. Not so good on turn 4 or 5 when your opponent is in a dominating position and you've already lost your Archeops. Does look like we're getting a Luminium, which is going to immediately get a Professor's Research. So Rahul is going to have a new hand of 7 cards. What is he looking for here, Shay? What could get him out of this?
I think energy, so you can maybe start trying to build towards a weird that obviously you have attached already, but I think the most obvious answer would be a Stadium replacement, so at least you can attack with a Blood Moon. Only plays 2 copies of Mesagoza, and 1 has been used already. I don't see 1.
No, it's not in the hand. I'm pretty sure I did not see it there.
Oh, and there's a concession.
Ryuki Okada is your Dortmund regional champion. Our first regional champion of a European event this season is actually a player from Japan. It's Ryuki Okada.
And I'm fairly certain Ryuki is our first ever Japanese EU regional champion as well. Congratulations to him. $10,000 per richer as well. Wow, what a round. So convincing fashion there. Dragapult was just dissecting the Lugia deck, and look how excited he is. We love to see it. Congratulations, Ryuki.
Yeah, I'd be pretty excited if I just won a regional championships as well. And here's the thing, right? That Dragapult deck, very difficult to pilot. We saw the plays from Ryuki there. Lots of, I'll put some damage here, we'll worry about it later.
Yeah.
I'll bench these Pokemon, I can worry about trying to evolve them up later. I will worry about all of this stuff later. I'm not ready for it yet. And then the turns where it comes together. Let's remind ourselves everything that happened in this game.
So here we go, big deep breath there from Rahul. Remember, this was his first regional final as well. Game one, drawing into that legacy energy was so impactful. Did draw into the Ultra Ball and the Archeops, but wasn't able to use Ampu very much. Here, Ryuki was able to stabilize there and had to turn to Phantom Dive via that Sparkling Crystal and was just immediately applying pressure, Ross.
Yeah, not looking happy in that clip, but I assure you much happier as the game wore on. Here we do see the big 4-prize turn where we get around the legacy energy by KOing the Iron Hands on the bench with bench damage, while also KOing the active Lugia for 4 big prizes. And from there, that really was the beginning of the end of game one. And we see there Luminion for Boss's Orders, which really was the end of game one.
Yeah.
And then we go to game two with Ryuki 1 game up.
Yeah, and in game two, you can see how excited he was, immediately applying the pressure again with another turn to Phantom Dive, as Rahul wasn't really able to sort of get set up. Any time you're having to use Summoning Star for 1 Archeops, it's going to be an uphill struggle. But quite honestly, as we do see that here, he had no choice, wasn't able to give off another turn of not attacking. So here we did see the Ampu very much combined with a Boss's Orders to take out one of those Dreepy. And that's all he could realistically do here.
Yeah, it was a decent start, taking those 2 prizes, taking out a Dreepy. The problem is, from there, Ryuki was on it. We see the Archeops coming out into the active here, getting KO'd. Well, sorry, getting hit with the Dust Noir and then getting KO'd with the residual damage. There's extra 6 damage counters from Phantom Dive. Big 3-prize turn here after the Temple of Sinnoh came down to turn off that legacy energy.
What a turn that was, quite honestly. That Temple of Sinnoh coming in so huge. And right at the end of the game, Rahul was not able to replace that stadium, so Blood Moon Ursaluna was not able to attack. And there we see the concession as Rahul Reddy conceded to Ryuki, who was able to take home the Dortmund Regional Championships.
Yeah, and when you come all the way from Japan over to a European regional, you know, you usually want to make these trips as a thing like, well, was this the best idea, traveling halfway around the world to play Pokemon?
Sure. Yeah.
And then you sit there again, you know, you've won $10,000 and you're thinking, you know what? This was an excellent decision. I think Ryuki is going to be feeling like this was absolutely the play. And like I say, I am all in favor of more players from more regions coming over here, you know, making these regionals truly international events.
Yep.
And we do need to say commiserations to Rahul.
Yep.
You know, a very good player, someone who's very active in the community, known by almost everyone at this stage, a phenomenal player who has come close so many times. Never closer than this regional this weekend. But, I mean, come on, this is not the last time we're going to see Rahul in a bit.